do have two stories, but they're both from Tinder. They're from back in the day. Because I have a Hinge, as we know, but like it's just really hard for me to keep up with like life and online dating. I think like I'm one of those people. I just say, you got to see this shit in person. You got to see this shit in person. Okay.
What song is that?
I forget. That's a good question, but
Chris Brown.
Is it?
I think.
Oh shit, I don't know.
It's one of his damn lines. Someone's song. I think it's Chris Brown.
But yeah, I can't really keep up with the whole like online dating thing. Like I'll like a couple dudes, message a couple dudes, and then I'll like disappear, which is what Drea noticed whenever she was going through my head. She's like, "You left all these dudes on red." Like I disappeared and I turned the app
definitely
off.
Left them on red like back in January. I'm like,
yeah,
dang.
I never opened it again.
February or March. I'm like, shit. She want me to go back and I'm not rekindling.
Go back and say,
shit.
"Hey, see who with the shits."
They gonna be like, "You been ghost for 5 months. Where the hell you been?"
I took the top off. I was just like hot sauce. Should have give me that mean mouth.
Hey.
But no, so my story with Tinder back in the day, I was weird about Tinder. So my thing was like I was messing with Tinder around that era when that Facebook feature first came in where you could like connect your Facebook. So I would not actually talk to a dude on Tinder or I'm sorry, I wouldn't go on a date with a dude on Tinder unless I like had mutual friends with him on Facebook. Oh, because I'm we talked about this
picky.
episode 1
and scared.
I don't play. But so I went on a date with one guy. We had mutual friends from my college, and he was in a fraternity, and so we hung out for a little bit. He was not necessarily my type. We went on a couple different dates. This was like I was like 21 at the time because I remember I still worked at the radio.
Wow.
And I would get free tickets.
You was a baby.
And I would go to like I was young. We would go to like I think we went to Chrisette Michelle. This was before she had the Trump issue
What the hell?
we went to see her in concert. I think it was like Chrisette, Raheem Devon. Let me serve you up. Let me serve you up. We went to their concert and we had a good time. Like me and him would have good times together. He was a little bit nerdier than I was used to, but he was still fun. The reason why we had to end things was because I would continue to invite him out to stuff because he was a good time. He would bring his friends and we were connected. It wasn't anything too deep. But one time he let his friend grab my ass.
What?
And when I told him, he didn't seem very much so concerned.
He probably thought you was down.
You grab my if you're a friend and you grab my ass and you're not concerned that your friend grabbed my ass or you're not going to check them. And it wasn't even like he wasn't concerned. Like he didn't even play it off like in a cool way. He played it off in a like I don't know what to do way. And that worried me even more.
What do you mean you don't know what to do?
Can you protect a bitch?
Can you confront your friend?
Right.
Say, do not slap her ass. She's with me.
I feel like if he would have did it I don't care way, it would have been like, oh, you asshole. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But he really had this face like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, yo,
like, it's not even that serious. Just say, don't do that shit again.
Look, I'm going to show you what I'm finna do.
Bye.
But, yeah, so that was the end of that. And then my second Tinder story was this one is a hurt piece. It's not a hurt piece, but I really like this guy. So this guy I met on Tinder. I was still living at my mother's house at the time whenever I first met him in the very beginning, which was like 45 minutes out of the city. We live in Pittsburgh. So it's like 45 minutes out of the city. And so he wouldn't take me serious at first, and I understood that. We didn't have any mutual friends, actually. I understood that, though. I was like, you know what? I'd be up and down the highway. I'd be in Pittsburgh a lot. But, like, if you don't want to really get serious with me, I get it. And then I moved to Pittsburgh, whatever. I lived with you, actually. And so we went to the Gucci Mane concert.
Oh, that was lit.
We went to the Gucci Mane concert, and I had this really big, this was one of my favorite looks.
Yes, that was my favorite look, too. You had your black one piece,
one black one piece.
The back all out with your curls.
With the big red burgundy hair with the curls, the crochet braid.
Yes.
So I was feeling myself that night, and I happened to go into a bar, and this guy was in there, and I walked up to him because I'm a little bit confident when it's. I was like, you remember me? I was like, we used to talk on Tinder. He was like, oh my gosh, that's you. Like, oh my gosh. Like, it was very pleasant. It was a nice exchange. And then he ended up, because he had my number, so he ended up texting me the next day, and he was like, oh, like, I just want you to know, like, you're gorgeous. Like, it was really nice to meet you. And he was like, I would really love to hang out with you. He was like, especially if you live in the city now, because I did tell him that whenever I ran into him. So I was like, bet. Bank. Right. So we had a good time. We went on a couple different dates. The dates were excellent. We went, we did the sports bar thing. We did bowling. I really felt like we connected because he was a little bit older than me. So like, what I liked about him was like, we had like a little bit of similar backgrounds. Like I think at the time he told me he had lost a lot of weight.
Are we talking about that one man?
Don't put his info out.
I'm not. I'm
Yes,
trying to think.
but
Okay.
and he had a good job. Yes. So he had lost a lot of weight, and we had that in common, and he had a really good job, and he was just like teaching me a lot of stuff. Like I remember I was telling him how I wanted to move out the city, and he's like, "Oh well, you should go on the website and type in like the city you currently live in and the salary you make and
He
see
was
what you need
trying
to
to move you
make
down
into
there.
the other city." Well, he wasn't planning on moving yet at that point
He
when
was
I
trying to get you
he did
close.
eventually move, but at that point he was just trying to like help a sister out. He was very like
Hmm.
he was just knowledgeable, and he was older, and he was quirky, and he was fun, and it was a great time. And I was just young, and when it came down to was unfortunately he was it was I think we just kind of both were going through things
Mm.
not together, but like he was going through personal issues, I was going through personal issues, because that's around the time my Avenger died,
Oh,
my Dodge
rest in
Avenger.
peace to her Avenger.
My Dodge Avenger. And I even remember when I first broke down on the side of the road, and I was like Snapchatting, like, I can't believe this happened to me. And he like messaged me, he's like, "Are you okay? Like, is there anything I could do to help you?" And I'm like, "I think I'll be all right." But like he was amazing. He was a really cool guy. And
Hmm.
I knew at the time that he was probably talking to another girl.
Mm.
And as
Of
things started to
course.
dwindle down, he not only was talking to another girl, but the girl that he was talking to, he married. And
Oh.
yeah.
Mm.
So,
I
but
can't
what
even
I
sip my
will say,
wine.
I know there's not that much wine left. Look.
Sip our wine to that one, because there is no
He
way.
married. But what I will say about it, because I ain't no hating asshole, his wife is gorgeous.
Hmm.
And I will say, if that was my competition, if that's who I was going up against, then I'm glad that that's who I was battling against.
All right. No,
Because
seriously.
she was pretty as hell.
Real pretty.
But yeah, I don't look at him as the one that got away, but I always feel like if they get married after, like, in between the midst of like I was talking to you and then you were talking to your future wife, I feel like I was a good contender.
Right.
Like
No, I agree.
I was definitely that bitch.
He was probably like, all right, let me see.
I
She was
think
probably just a little older,
yeah, I think
and you
I
being so young.
probably picked her for more than like she seemed like she's really dope. Like I'll
Yeah.
give him that. And I was young. I was
Right.
very young at the time. I was like 23. So all is well, all is fair in love and war, and I wish him the best. He doesn't live around here anymore, but he was a great guy. I literally have nothing bad to say about him or my experience with him.
Yeah.
Like he was fun, and I wish more guys like that came around.
Oh, girl.
But
Mm.
yeah, that's my story with Tinder. After that, I feel like I really just chilled out because Tinder eventually turned into just
I
you want to
never
fuck.
used Tinder.
Really?
One of the only apps I think I never used.